Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Deneen and Tom Borelli.
Good morning, Patriots. It is a beautiful day for liberty. And what a great crowd out there today, Tom. This is an amazing event.
Not quite like our normal living room.
Not quite. But yeah, this is like our simulation living room here. We want to welcome you to the Borelli Fireside Chat. So instead of us giving individual speeches, what we wanted to do was give you a glimpse of how the Borellis prepare for a public speech, how we prepare for a speaking event. So this is like a little test market. I'm Deneen Borelli, Fox News contributor and advisor at CloutHub, and I'm also Tom's boss.
True.
And your
we
title?
call it white privilege in our home.
And Tom is what's your title?
Contributor with America's Voice News, a new conservative network available for streaming. Download the app. And also with CloutHub, a new social
media outlet.
Yep.
See, I told you I'm his boss. So as you can see, we're both very different in every way possible that you could think of, from looks, genes, educational background. He's the analytical one. He's a scientist by training, which drives me crazy because he's always trying to connect the dots and how did you come to this conclusion by not doing this? So he's got the pen protector in his pocket all the time with his lab coat.
And I also do a lot of the cooking.
Yeah. Which is great. And I'm more of the visual one, so I got my flow charts and connecting the dots, and that helps me understand things and explain things. So we're both very different in a number of ways, but together it works. We have a great team. I think we've been together for quite some time, and we have very different backgrounds. And, we thought it might be different to share with you today some of the same things that we're involved in on a regular basis as a couple. Another thing that's important is that we're both aligned politically, which is huge. I mean, can you imagine, right?
It wouldn't work otherwise.
Limited government and personal responsibility. That's what we're about. So this is the Borelli Fireside Chat, minus the fire and minus the 3 olive vodka martinis.
It's too early.
It is too early. So Tom, I got this email today. I have this amazing opportunity to speak at this upcoming event. I mean, I've been waiting for this for quite some time. So what I'm thinking of doing is talking about the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats versus President Trump and his policies, right? I mean, that's what I'm really thinking about doing because, as you know, there is a huge difference, right? Vastly huge difference. You got Democrats talking about giving away everything for free. Everything is free. Free health care, free education, college, roll back those student debts. Everything is free, free, free.
All of it.
Those silly Democrats. Well, there's also the Green New Deal, right? Which, from what I have read, is an absolute nightmare. I mean, talk about 3 olive martinis. We're going to need a few of those just to
if you could afford them.
Wrap our head around it, but to explain it to people because it's an absolute nightmare. There's just so much to choose from for me to use as a topic for this great speaking event, which, by the way, my dress is coming because I'm already all set for it. So it's coming in the mail.
What did that set me back?
Don't look at the price tag.
That's what I said. What did that set me back?
I got to look good. Come on.
This is true.
So, I'm thinking of focusing on the importance of our energy policy, right? Our coal, oil, our natural gas, cheap, affordable, reliable energy that we have been blessed with to have in the United States. That's what I'm thinking about because energy affects all households, right? And if you can put your heat on as you want, your air conditioning, fill up that SUV, This is important. That's liberty. This is America. But this Green New Deal thing, it's a nightmare. It is a radical policy, and it will vastly change our way of living. So that's what I'm thinking of doing.
All right, Deneen, I think that's a great topic. And, you know, as a scientist, you know, there is the science
You don't have to remind me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But there's the science of climate change. But what we do know is, A, the climate always changes. There are very few constants in life,
Yeah.
except for death, taxes, and the Democrats' ability
Right.
to control our lives. That's what they want.
Yeah.
That doesn't change.
Well, it does come down to control. That's for sure. Well, this Green New Deal is positioned as a way to fight climate change. I mean, come on, you're the scientist. Doesn't the climate always change, Tom?
Yep, it just changes
Right?
all in all.
And we just adapt to it?
Yep.
Well, look, I don't know. Do you think this is a great idea? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea because it's a way where you connect a policy that
Right.
sounds good to what its impact and consequences are on people's lives. Democrats are great with these grand ideas.
Sweeping ideas,
But they
right.
really talk about the consequences of those ideas. And as you mentioned, energy policy is one of those that affects every American, not only from those who work in the energy sector, but also everyday Americans because of energy prices. I mean, that's a fantastic idea to connect those dots.
Right. Well, so here's what I'm thinking. I want to explain how the progressive policies, the progressive elites, I mean, my goodness, how the Democrats want to use the Green New Deal to control our everyday lives. That's what I really want to nail down, and how it's going to destroy jobs. That is what the last election was about, J-O-B-S, jobs. People want to work. They want to be able to provide for themselves and their families. I mean, this Green New Deal will reduce living standards. People will have less disposable income to spend with higher energy prices. But when you think about it, it's elites. They can afford energy at any cost. Private jets, their SUVs, they fly all over the
Mansions.
world fighting for climate change. And how did you get there? How did you get from California to wherever you are? I mean, come on.
They didn't walk.
No, they didn't walk. They didn't swim
Or take a
either.
bike.
Well, here's another point. New York City, the former New York City mayor, Michael Bloomberg, the billionaire, right? He's financing his own Green New Deal. This guy has a ton of money, which is great. Good for him. But this billionaire, he's giving this huge amount of money for this Green New Deal. He wants to shut down coal-fired power plants that provide electricity for businesses, for homes. Are you kidding me? We have a billionaire, he wants to use his vast fortune, Tom, right, to really harm hardworking Americans, to harm families, because it makes him feel good. It makes him feel warm and fuzzy, like he's doing something. He's taking something
Pound
for
that
the
chest.
team.
Absolutely.
Right? It makes me mad.
Big man on campus.
It's amazing. Well, so billionaire Bloomberg, I mean, we're talking a lot of money, Tom. I mean, look, let me look this up. I read this in the New York Times today. Bloomberg said, and I quote, he would donate $500 million, $500 million, to a new campaign to close every coal-fired power plant in the United States and halt the growth of natural gas, end quote.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Yeah, focusing on
on.
Bloomberg is really important because it really bothers me the way progressive elites will ram their values down the throats of everyday
horrible.
Americans. Think about $500 million. He wants to shape America to his vision,
Right.
not the vision of the people. I have the money and I'm going to use it to shape the United States the way I see it. You know, one question I have is, why doesn't he use that vast fortune to invest in new forms of energy?
Sure.
Right? 500 million, come up with a new technology. Go ahead, do it. But that's not about it. It's not about that.
It's about
control.
Right.
It's about control. And they really don't care about the hardworking Americans who will pay the cost of these devastating policies.
it's horrible. And what about his track record as the former mayor of New York City, right?
Well, right. He had the war on sugar-sweetened beverages.
Right? That was him.
That was him, and a war on salt. Remember that. Don't forget that.
Did he have a war on straws too? Or that
I
didn't
think he
come
was out of
about
office.
yet?
Right.
Because they're doing that now in California.
Maybe his next 10 million.
I mean,
for
we
that.
were somewhere recently, and I sat down. We were at the airport, and she brought our drink. It was water at the time. And I said, "Can I have a straw, please?" She goes, "Oh, I was waiting for you to ask." I was like, "What?"
Need a permission to get a straw.
Like I got to bring him
Welcome
in
to
undercover
America.
or something?
Welcome to America.
Man, well, getting back to Bloomberg, he just thinks we're too stupid. That's what I think.
Well, it's true, because
You're stupid.
I am stupid, for sure. And get in that corner, Dr. Borelli,
And don't
get in that
talk
corner.
back.
Because
Right.
if we give you money, if you earn your money, you know what you'll do? You'll go out and buy a big SUV, drive around in circles, and drink a big sugar-sweetened soda, a big 16-ounce one, and that bothers him.
The big gulp, I think they call it at
that
7-Eleven.
I would have the ability to do that.
Yeah. You're too stupid.
That's true.
Man.
You tell me that all the time anyway.
Not to your face.
That's right.
But anyway, Bloomberg, like many Democrats, Tom, the elites, they want to push their Green New Deal. They have no idea about the struggles of hardworking Americans now who can't pay their energy bill, who are picking and choosing whether I get my medicine or pay my electricity bill or got to get Johnny a new pair of shoes. I mean, come on. This is harmful to Americans, and that is something voters need to understand.
And Deneen, it's something that we both can relate to because we came from middle-class families with very modest incomes.
Yes.
And we really represent the forgotten men and women in the United States because those were our parents.
Absolutely.
And that's why we fight to keep America exceptional, where anyone can succeed with hard work and perseverance.
Right.
That's your life story. That's my life story. Our last names weren't Clinton, Cuomo,
Obama.
Bush's.
Right.
No, we didn't come
Kennedy.
from that. Kennedy. No, there was no, here you go, girl, here you go, boy.
Right.
No, it was from hard work and perseverance. And, your parents worked in the prison system of New Jersey.
For years.
My father was a World War II veteran, worked in the post office. My
Yep.
mother worked in a middle school cafeteria. That's where we came from, and I grew up in a rent-controlled apartment. No elevator.
With how many steps?
No elevator. 4th floor. Oh, about 65 or 66 on the street up. That's why I stay in shape.
Wow.
But that's our heritage. But we didn't grow up with that wealth that a lot of people have. But we want to keep the doors of opportunity open for other people.
Right.
Because if the government gets too big, it will all be controlled, and that will stymie the ability for people kind of like us to make it
Right.
through hard work and perseverance.
Well, here's the thing. Bloomberg doesn't care. I mean, he's a billionaire, for crying out loud. So he doesn't care that his policy, the Green New Deal, is going to harm hardworking families. And again, it's like the fuzzy, warm and fuzzy. Green New Deal just sounds good, right? And he wants to put his mark on it. He just wants to stay in club elite. That's the way I see it.
He is in that elite club.
Right.
I wonder the last time he paid an electricity bill, wrote that check.
I'm sure he doesn't have to. He's got people to do it, right?
All right, because they think we're
Well.
all too stupid. But I think, what's really important is the way they're going to affect energy in terms of, what the consequences are of bankrupting these industries.
Yep. And then getting back to the forgotten men and women. I mean, President Trump, that's what he ran on. He campaigned on that, right? And that really connected. So to call out,
That's
I
why
think
he
I
won.
really need to call out how the elites want to harm the forgotten men and women with their big government policies, especially Green New Deal. I mean, come on.
No, you're absolutely true, Deneen. Absolutely true.
Well, they just think we're too stupid. Maybe that's my banner in my opening line when I get up and talk.
Right.
They just think we're too stupid.
That's right. welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Right? You're too
You're
stupid.
right.
Well, this Green New Deal is doubling down on Obama's footsteps, right, of trying to bankrupt the coal industry. As you mentioned, we were on the front lines of all of that when this came out, right? We talked about, we met coal miners when we went to Washington, D.C., when they
Coal
had these
miner
rallies,
rallies,
coal
right.
miner rallies. We met the coal miners, men, women, their families. All they want to do is work
Yeah, I won't
and
forget,
provide
you
for
know,
their families.
looking into, one family's face and, a big, tall, handsome,
I remember that.
muscular gentleman standing there with his daughter.
Yep.
And it really bothered me to my soul that the government would have the arrogance to come in and say, you're losing your job because I want you to, because of a decree.
Right.
That is not the way our free market system works. That was not the way our country was really constructed.
No, it's not. But Democrats want to get rid of all fossil fuels. You understand that, right?
Oh, yeah.
All. Coal, oil, natural gas. They got a problem with fracking. I mean, come on. Where do they think the energy comes from? You just plug it into the wall.
It comes from the wall.
But come on.
Don't worry about
the
it.
electric vehicles that are supposed to be warm and fuzzy as well, they get plugged in to what?
The wall.
We're talking about jobs and good-paying jobs, especially when it comes to fossil fuels, Tom. And remember, again, we were on the front lines of Obama's war on fossil fuels, and I think this is really important for me to include in my speech. But not only that, we have to address, on as much as we can, and I'm going to say this in my speech, the cold callousness of the elites. Higher energy prices means less disposable income for you. They don't care.
They don't care because they can
They
afford
don't
it.
care.
B, they don't care because it's all about control. And you're right. It's the arrogance and the coldness that
amazing.
really, really bothers me. They sit on this high perch and they just basically turn the dials that say, you win, you lose because I think so. And
Yeah.
remember, this is bad politics, which is really the good news.
Right.
Remember when Hillary Clinton was running in 2016?
Who?
Yeah, remember Hillary?
She's
she'll
still
be on.
around?
Yeah, don't worry. Turn on the tube. She'll be there.
She's somewhere.
But don't worry about that. But remember, she promised to put more coal miners out of jobs
Right.
while running for the presidency, while really smart politics. But
Yep.
it just shows how disconnected she is from the plights and the concerns of everyday Americans.
The deplorables.
The
Get it
deplorables.
straight. Yeah. Well, she doesn't like coal miners because they get their hands dirty,
That's
right?
right. Yeah,
They
that's
get
probably
their
part
hands
of it.
dirty. Unbelievable. Well, Tom, again, Clinton, the Bloombergs, they don't care about hardworking Americans. They just don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
One of the things I think that they're so disconnected, they really forget what it really means to be employed and to have a job. The dignity
Right.
and the pride you have when you work hard and you get that paycheck, and then you're able to provide for your spouse, for your family, for your kids, to take them to the baseball game.
Buy
the
me
football game.
diamonds.
Yeah, buy you diamonds,
I could
right?
use some bigger ones.
She's expensive. She's expensive. Don't know about that.
They're on sale.
They're on sale. But it's the dignity for me to be able to do that, to put that smile on your face. But the Democrats, they don't care about that.
No,
They're
they
just
don't.
so disconnected from reality. They forget what it's like not to have a job, because they probably always had one if they ever really had
Or
one.
never signed a paycheck.
Or signed a paycheck.
Right.
So they really are disconnected.
It's amazing. Well, do you remember the time in your life when you didn't have a job?
Oh, yeah. Sure. I remember clearly a number of times when I was in college trying to, during the summer, trying to find employment, and there really were no jobs at the time,
Yep.
but there was a Canada Dry bottling facility. And
That's still around?
No, I think they are. And they would hire day laborers. So I'd wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, run down, and wait in this long line with about 25 men
Right.
waiting to be picked, hoping that you would get picked. And he would pick, the foreman would pick maybe 3 or 4 people out of the 25, go back home and come back the next day. I did that for a long time during the summer. I was picked a few times, and I was just so thrilled because it was high paying at the time that I actually had that job.
Sure.
I had that paycheck. I didn't have to ask my parents for any money. I already felt guilty because they were helping me pay for college. I had a college loan. Last thing I want to do is, I need money for gas, need money for food.
Yep.
So that was one avenue.
Yeah.
That was really, I won't forget. And the other one is when I graduated from college, with a degree in microbiology from Michigan State University. I wasn't recruited. There wasn't a big demand for microbiologists in the day. But I was fortunate enough to get a summer job at General Foods, which is now Kraft Foods. And I was able, it was a week-to-week employment opportunity. And I went in that place, in that lab, and I said, they're going to have to carry me out of this place.
Wow.
In order, because I needed and wanted that job. And eventually I was hired.
Yep.
And the rest is the story.
Is history, as
Right,
they
right.
say. Well, as you know, I was recently fired from Blaze TV because Facebook suppressed my videos. A black female conservative, imagine that. They suppressed my voice, Tom, and viewership went down, advertising revenue went down, and I got fired. But years ago, my plan was to be a runway model in New York City.
Think of that.
That was my plan.
Where'd you get that idea
Had
from?
it all worked out, but had to get out of living in that basement and eating ramen noodles all the time. So I had to get a job, a real job. I wore out my hot plate. I mean, I just had to break down and get a real job. But I would not have met you if I didn't
You see that?
do what I had to do.
There
right?
you go.
But I tell you, we've
You were a
come a
runway
long
model.
way.
You would have left me in the dust.
This is true. Tom, who?
Who?
Well, we both have come a long way, and we have this amazing opportunity to tell people how policies that are not good for them, what they can do about it, how they can fight back. And with this speech that I have that's coming up, I'm really looking forward to talking about the Green New Deal, the consequences, and how people will be harmed, because this energy policy is not good for people, for families, or for the country.
You know, this is not theory. I mean, recently, you know, as you mentioned, the Democrats want to end fracking. Well, recently, President Trump was in Pennsylvania
Yes.
at a brand new facility that Royal Dutch Shell is building. They're going to take ethane, which comes from the fracking process, the natural gas fracking process. Ethane comes out. They're going to convert all that ethane into plastic. It's going to translate into hundreds of jobs and, you know, millions of pounds of plastic that we're going to be making right in Pennsylvania.
Jobs.
But with Democrats, they will end that.
Yep.
So this isn't theory, this is fact.
All right.
And in fact, there was a New York Times story recently talking about that facility. They didn't like it because it was making plastic, oh, the horror. But they also mentioned, if you read carefully, there was a line that there's now a resurgence of the petrochemical industry in the United States because of fracking.
Wow.
Jobs.
That's
Democrats
huge.
come in, those jobs disappear. I sure hope that people in Pennsylvania are paying attention.
Well, I can't see why people will want to vote themselves out of a job. So I guess we nailed it. We nailed it, you know? This is what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I'll bring you on as backup. We'll put you in a dress,
That's right.
right?
I want my lab coat. I want my lab coat and my pocket protector. Go back to my comfort zone, my safe space.
And that, my friends, is the Borelli Strategy Session, our little fire chat session. Thanks so much.
Thank you.